Welcome, everybody. I'm Evelyn Waiwaioli. I'm Vice President of Development and External Relations. I have some fellow Lions in the house. We're glad you're here. We're so glad all of you are here. If you enjoyed Ralph Wilson and Charlie and Kathy Kimmy hot dog, would you please help me give them a round of applause and thank them? Thank you very much to all of you. One thing you learn when you get to Temple, Texas, is some people call you friend, but what you really are is family, and they showed up as family today. So thank y'all so much for being here. We also have our Board of Trustees. Would they please stand so that we can recognize them? They make all great things happen at Temple College. There they are. Our chair, Lydia Santabanya Sparrow, John Bailey, Harry Adams, and Dr. Avas, Dr. AAA. Thank y'all all for being here. We also have with us our foundation board. They help bring in the money. Would they please stand and be recognized today? There they are. We have Tanner Johnson, the judge from Milam County, and Sharon Wilson. Thank you all for being here. We're super grateful that you were able to make time. And then where is Representative Hugh Shine? Thank you for making time to come today and being with us. It took us a little bit of time to be able to celebrate Kirby appropriately. As many of you know, there was a wonderful celebration right before COVID. And then we got a little distracted with something else, and it was called wearing PPE, face masks, making sure everybody was safe. But we never forgot, and we wanted to make sure we circled back. Sadly, though, I did not have the good fortune to be here when Kirby was here. I started on the very first day that Coach Cliff Ellis, his replacement, came in. He's my twin over there. So I wanted to do a little research to understand better the impact that he had. I knew the impact he had on the college, but even just who was he? What made him tick? Because after 33 years, you get your name on a court. So what made that happen? And this is what I found out. First of all, never met a man who loved Chick-fil-A so much. We're looking forward to hearing more about that, Kirby. And as much as he loved Chick-fil-A, many of you know this, he loved the officials. How did you really feel about him, Kirby? How did you really feel about those officials? Priorities were important to Kirby. As many of you know, this date was picked because there's not a Texas Tech football game today. And you didn't practice or play when the Cowboys were playing. That's a true Texan. One of his favorite mottos, have fun storming the castle. But most of all, he cared about the young students that played. He cared that they won. But more importantly, what was always said when I asked somebody, tell me about the difference Kirby made, they said he cared more about the men they would be and become than he ever cared about the game. And we're so very grateful that you made that difference at Temple College and other places, but we had you the longest. We're so glad to be able to celebrate you today, Kirby. And we're so glad all those grandkids are on the back row. We're so glad all of you are here. Please help me welcome the president of Temple College, Dr. Christy Ponce.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. We have a few special surprises that we wanted to start out by honoring Coach Johnson with. But before we begin, I wanted to introduce a special friend of Kirby, Mr. Mike Holland. Will you please come up and share a few words with us?
Well, first let me say thank you to all of you that are here, and thank you to all of you who helped make this dream a reality. And first, let me thank Dr. Ponce. She and I had lunch together, and along with Judge Steve Young on the foundation board, who kind of set that up for me, and I appreciate that, Judge. Thank you so much. Along with Evelyn Waiwaioli. I just love saying her name. Very rarely do you get to say a name like that, but three of us sat down one day, or the four of us sat down for lunch one day, and I kind of laid out a dream that I had and kind of a thought, a way to honor Kirby. And Dr. Ponce, Judge, and Evelyn all just listened, and they said, okay, all right, yeah. And so we talked about it, and I talked about all the great things that Kirby had done. And so, and I wanted to say go give something back to him. 33 years in one place as the head basketball coach, unheard of. In those 33 years, he touched the lives so positively, probably of 700 plus players and managers and different people, always promoting Temple College. And when we were having this conversation, I was saying, probably never been a greater representative of Temple College. Those of you who know Kirby know he's all in. He rides for the brand. He was a leopard through and through, black and gold. Everything about it was about Temple College. Touch those lives of those 700 young men and probably several young women that were part of that program. But then also touch the lives of over 10,000 students. Many of you don't know, Kirby taught 5 classes a year, a semester, 10 classes a year. Over 10,000 students he touched the lives, and he was such a great promoter of this university. Many of those people probably don't know that he touched their lives yet. They will one day. Kirby may not know some of those people touched his lives, but yet we meet people like that throughout our lives. They say that if you only have 5 or 6 friends through this life, that you're very blessed. Kirby, look around. You're pretty blessed. These are all great friends of yours. These are all people who care about you and appreciate you. We go through life so often and we meet people that change our lives or impact our lives. And sometimes we don't get an opportunity to say thank you. Well, today is a day we get to say thank you. I personally want to say thank you, Kirby, for taking a chance on me 44 years ago, I think, which kind of makes me feel old, and seeing some of our young players that we had that are a little bit older than they were 44 years ago. As an assistant coach at Temple High School, Kirby took a chance on me, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate that opportunity, and I always know that changed my life, just as many of your lives were changed. So, Kirby as a father, as a grandfather to these beautiful kids that are up here in the stands today, as a husband, as a friend to so many of us, as a coach, as a teacher, today's our day to get to say thank you back. And I just want to say thank you from all of us, from all the people who were part of this, Dr. Ponce, to the board, to Judge Young, to Evelyn, who, if it hadn't been for Evelyn, I'd still be trying to get social media out to let everybody know about this. Evelyn, her team was phenomenal on this. And again, today we get to honor you and say thank you to you for all the impact you had on our lives with the coach Kirby Johnson Basketball Court. So thank you, Kirby, and thank you from my heart, brother. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Holland. Very well said. Thank you. Are very good. It's a very good way to put it, because you just made an impact on so many individuals as a professor and a coach and a friend and a mentor. And we all know how many students lives you've touched. And one is standing here right next to us, and that is Dr. Ellis.
Thank you, Dr. Ponce. Yes, like Dr. Ponce said, I had the privilege of playing for Coach Johnson, but I also had the challenge of being that guy that was going to come after him. So much of a challenge that I had to bring back one of his assistants when he was allowed to start having assistants, Alex Nixon over there. So if you'll give him a hand, he's been here for twice now. Recruiting is funny. Coach, I'm sure that all of us former players have some sort of a story about Coach Johnson recruiting us. Mine was my high school teammate was going to sign here at Temple College, and I kept getting letters from Coach Johnson. And, I would get these letters, and I would think, in an envelope, for young guys, envelope. And so I kept getting these envelopes from Temple, and I kept thinking, the school in Philadelphia? And I was like, no, that's Temple University. And I kept thinking, well, where is Temple College, Temple Junior College back then? And I finally realized it's that town right there off of 35 there, halfway to Dallas. And so as I kept getting these letters more and more, I kept thinking, how are they scoring so many points? I mean, I get these letters and I see the headlines, 140 points, 135 points, 133, and I'd be like, my goodness, how are they scoring so many points? But then I came up here with my parents along with my high school teammate, and it took me till probably the middle of my sophomore year before I realized, as some of us recruits slowly realize, is that I think I was the other part of the package deal because my high school teammate ended up being an All-American here. And so I think I was the guy that just got thrown in there. But back then he did it all by himself. He was coach. He drove the van. He was a referee during practice. He had to be. He was the mediator because we had quite a few problems when we didn't like the refereeing. And then he would also tell you he was team psychologist as well for a lot of us. But one of the things that we learned is that the game is pretty simple. It's just that players can be a little complicated. And he had a way of giving us little sayings to make the game simple for us. Like he would say, do you know why so-and-so got that rebound? And we'd be waiting. He goes, because he was there. And then you slowly realize that you just got to be around and take advantage of opportunities. And then he would say, you know what, guys, we're going to miss every shot that we don't take. And then you realize, well, when you got that opportunity, you better take advantage of it. And then he would say, guys, it's real simple. Just listen to the coach. And I've kind of grown to really like that particular saying. But through the years, some of us went on to coaching and did other things. But I think one of the great things we all realized about Temple College is that we would all send our players back here to Temple College. And even if you weren't in coaching, he would try to send somebody here to Temple College if you thought that they were not only a good player, but a good person for Coach Johnson. And, the thing that always shocked me was the trust that he had in us, is that you bring a player in here and he'd be like, Cliff, I already decided when you told me he was good enough that I was going to give him a scholarship. But, I really didn't have to watch him play or anything like that. And just all of us players, he just developed that level of trust in us that he would just take our word for it. If he thought a guy was Temple College leopard material, he would just take him on. But, I think one of the a few things that us players, all can, share is whether you were here for 1 year or 2 years. One, I think all of us would agree that none of us got enough playing time. We all deserve more. Okay. Two, the $7 limit at McDonald's just was not enough. He would sit there by that cash register and make sure you did not go 1 penny over $7 after that game. But seriously, I think that, like I said, whether you were here for 1 year or for 2 years, I think that for us as former players, there's not a major decision that we make in our life that we don't somehow think to ourselves, what would Coach Johnson do in this situation? And so seeing him able to get his name here on the court, it just signifies just what an impact he made on us, whether it was here for 2 years or for 1 year. He's well deserving of this, and I'm glad that this gym will always be associated with him. So congratulations, Coach.
Let's give Coach Ellis another huge round of applause. He had huge shoes to fill, but he's carrying on your legacy. I now have the honor of presenting something extra special, and I'd like the Board of Trustees to please join me up at front. As you know, you mean a lot to Temple College, and today we have a proclamation for you. Whereas Coach Kirby Johnson served with true dedication and passion at Temple College as the men's head basketball coach for 33 years, from 1987 to 2020, leading transformational changes in athletics, in his players, and in building a strong program that was built on good moral character and hard work that will have a lasting impact for decades to come. Whereas Coach Johnson led as a role model and provided exceptional leadership, a family-oriented environment on and off the court for over 250 students, removing barriers and making a true difference in their lives. And whereas Coach Johnson was ranked #1 in NJCAA Division I wins in the state of Texas when he retired in 2020. and was ranked in the top 10 for total overall wins with an outstanding career record at Temple College of 715 to 306, with his teams winning 20 or more games per season for 25 out of 33 seasons he coached. Whereas Coach Johnson served as an ambassador for Temple College, as a member of the NJCAA men's basketball coach for 33 years, and a member of the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches for 40 years. He coached in the state of Texas for 43 years, beginning his journey coaching at Smiley Wilson Junior High in Lubbock, then on to Temple High School, and on to Temple College, where he had an 824 to 360 career record over 38 seasons. Whereas Coach Johnson led his teams to making it to the Region 5 tournaments 29 out of 31 years in which Temple College was a member of Region 5. Whereas Coach Johnson has always wanted the most for individuals around him. He has had hundreds of players successfully sign and further their education and careers at NCAA Division I, II, III schools, along with NAIA Division I schools. Whereas Coach Johnson led his teams to over 100,000 scoring points at one school, leading his team through 1,019 games with 102,990 points, averaging 101.07 points per game over his 33 years of coaching. Best of all, Coach Johnson holds the NJCAA record of most points ever scored in a game at 173 points in 1994-95 season. Whereas Coach Johnson led his Temple College teams to 12 national scoring championships in the 1998, 89, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 01, 02, 02, 03, 04, 05, 05, 06, 14, 15, 2015, 16, 2016, 17, 2018, 19 seasons. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Temple College Board, administration, faculty, staff who have had the privilege of serving with him, the countless students, colleagues, and coaches who were impacted through his incredible coaching, competitive spirit, mentorship, friendship, care, extraordinary leadership, and his commitment to serving Temple College, his players, athletics, the division, the region, and the state of Texas. Today, November 2nd, 2024, in addition to the naming of the Kirby Johnson Basketball Court, we are happy to announce that Coach Kirby Johnson is officially inducted into the NJCAA Athletics Hall of Fame. Will you please join us?
Yes, sure.
And we also want to present this plaque to you. Temple College thanks Kirby Johnson for 33 years of service and commitment to the students' athletics program and men's basketball. Kirby Johnson Basketball Court ribbon cutting, November 2nd, 2024.
Thank you very much.
Now help me in welcoming Coach Kirby Johnson.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank God. I'd like to thank my family, and I'd like to thank Temple College for making this possible. So I was thinking about this, and when you get your name on a court, that's usually for two reasons. One is that you've been there a long time, and one is because you've been successful. So let me tell you a little bit about both of those situations. The reason why I was here a long time is because of the people here. You know, Danny Scott, some of y'all know him. Danny had texted me and said he couldn't be here, but he was the athletic director that hired me. So I owe a lot to him. I owe a lot to Craig McMurtry. Where's Craig? There he is right there. He took Danny's place, and Craig decided to let me stay. And so I owe a lot to him. I owe a lot to the people around me. Kim Seebeck, where's Kim? She's here. She was the girls' coach here. One of the things with Kim and I, we never had an argument, not one time in all the years that we were here about using the court or anything like that. I know Doug Smith is not here, but I wanted to thank Doug. He did the books. I think he has seen more games of mine than anybody alive, because he saw every one of them at home. And and that was one thing that we didn't have to worry about doing, is Doug did that. I want to thank Jerry Jones, the voice of the Leopards. So I'd have to ask Jerry. What time is it? And his answer would be? Showtime. It's showtime. So you'll get to hear that later today if you stick around for the game. I wanted to thank Andrew Scholl. Andrew, if you'll stand up over here. Andrew's the T-shirt guy. And so all the T-shirts that we threw out, all those points that we scored, Andrew threw out all the T-shirts, and he was really special to be around for all these 33 years as well. But the other person I really wanted to thank is the person that held everything together here, and that was our boss. Alana, if you'll stand up. This is Alana Jones. She was our administrative secretary, and she was the one that kept Craig and myself and Kim and the other people. Dick King is here. All the people that work here, Alana's the one that kept them in place and kept us going. And she doesn't get much recognition, but one of the reasons why I was here so long is because Alana was here almost all those years. How many years were you here with me? 29 out of the 33 years. So that's the reason why I stayed a long time. The success is because of the coaches and then obviously the players. So the coaches, we've already seen Mike Holland, who coached with me at Temple High School, and then Alex Nixon that coached with me here, and J.D. Robson that coached with me while I was here. So those guys made an impact on us too. But the first rule of coaching, when I talk to young coaches and they say, what's the secret? I would tell them the first rule of coaching is the coach with the good players beats the coach with the bad players. And so obviously for something like this to happen, I had a whole lot of really good players for those 33 years. So the biggest honor that a coach can get is to have his name on a court. But it's not just that. When DeMarcus and Woothie and TJ and the other guys, George Garcia, the guys that played for me that are here, this isn't me. This is my name, but this is you, that has done this, and that you can bring. DeMarcus has his son, DeMarcus Jr. here, and he can show him this and say he was part of this. And that's what's special about this, is having the players that can come back and obviously be a part of it. I told George when I coached at Temple High School, those players, even though this is at Temple College, this is as much a part of the guys I coached at Temple High School as the guys that I coached here, because those guys got me here and are a part of this as well. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you. I was. I was told to make one more announcement, so I'm going to do that. I don't know if you get up here close to me. They mentioned Chick-fil-A a while ago. If you get up close to me, I have on a Chick-fil-A tie, and Steve Joy, who owns the Chick-fil-A's here, he's in a Bible study with us on Wednesday mornings, and he had told me that he could get me a Chick-fil-A corporate tie. So I told him that I would wear that, and I wore it at all the Chick-fil-A games that we had here. And so I told Steve last week, I said, I'm wearing the Chick-fil-A tie at the court naming in honor of all the help that you gave. And he said, well, if we're having Chick-fil-A, you're wearing Chick-fil-A tie, we have to have Chick-fil-A night. So he gave me 500 free cards for Chick-fil-A. So Coach McMurtry and myself will have those. So sometime during the day, come by and get those so that you can have those, whether you stay for the game or not. It's not contingent on that. All you got to do is come by and do that. So, and I did have, we did eat at Chick-fil-A quite a lot, right? So that it was great. So I did want to tell you about that.
Get your cameras ready, and we'll wait for our photographer. Tell me when, Steve.
Are you ready? Tell me when.